Cheerio. This, you're good. Yes.
Q&A, folks. Scoot up.
Yeah. Come forward.
This is scoot up.
I got my seat here.
Cool. I think that worked.
It's just stressing to look out. So spread out. Hi. How's everybody doing?
Good.
I guess this is the first group, right?
Yes.
Core people. Nice outfit. Nice outfits. My name's Maile, play Naruto, as you might know. And that's probably why you're in the room. Or maybe you just want some cold air.
Yep, I do.
That'd be great. I think Lisa's getting me a Diet Coke, but yeah, that'd be great. Thanks. Anyway, I've done Naruto for over 400 episodes and 35 video games and 5 movies.
Sauce.
And it's been like 8 years that I've been doing it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so it's been a long time. It's just kind of second nature now, I guess. And here I am.
Here you are.
And I guess I'll just start by telling you a little bit about me, and then we'll have some questions if you guys have any. You know, it's a small group. Don't be shy. But I started as an actor doing improv and in college, and then I moved to Minneapolis and did it there. Did a little bit in Chicago and stuff, and then I moved to LA. Well, in Minneapolis I did a lot of children's theater, and I did stand-up, and thank you, and a lot of theater, and then and a lot of improv. And then I moved to LA, and I got an agent, started working, and my agents were like, you know, you ever done voiceover? And I was like, yeah, I've done some. They said, well, you ought to study with this person and that person and that person, and, you know, with your raspy voice, and go start doing VO stuff. So I did. And then years went by, and then I auditioned for Naruto, and I got Naruto, and then I started doing him for 8 years, among other acting jobs. So that's kind of how I got my start. Does anyone have any questions to start off with before I just prattle on and on? You know, too small a group to have questions. Yeah.
You also do theater and film, correct?
Yeah.
Do you prefer voiceover to theater and film, or?
People always ask me that. I love doing theater. I've done a lot of theater. I keep doing theater. I'm doing some shows in June when I get back, where I play like an animal expert in this show with a lot of funny people. Anyway, I don't prefer one over the other. Film is a little slow. I love working in TV. I'm on a Disney show called Lab Rats. I've done a lot of those episodes. And I'm on Shameless a little bit, and hopefully I'll be back on that show too. And that's really fun too. The animation stuff, you get to do more. You get to kind of just do more. So that's really fun. And a character like Naruto, because there's so much to do, you play so many emotions that in TV and film, you know, a lot of the time it's about the star, so you're just a supporting player and you don't really have as much to do. So I guess sometimes in animation you're like, this is so much better. But then again, I love working in TV and film too, so kind of like it all. Yeah.
Do all the voice actors hang out together?
What?
Do all the voice actors hang out together?
Do we all hang out together, the voice actors? I hang out with Mary Elizabeth McGlynn, who directs me.
Yeah.
Liam O'Brien, who plays Gara.
Yep.
And Sam Riegel and I and Mary Elizabeth trade really filthy emails often. Or like he'll find something really awful on the internet. Like, this is you. Or a picture, you know, where somebody's kind of changed your voice, put some horrible thing on it. So I get a lot of those from them. And Mary Elizabeth hangs out a lot with the other voice actors, a little more than I do. I have been doing so much theater and so much on-camera work that I haven't had that much time to hang out really with anybody except for the people that I've been working with, especially because I'll be doing like the Disney show all day and then all week and then do theater all weekend. So I tend to kind of hang out with the people that I'm working with. But at conventions I do like hanging out with them. What other voice actors do I hang around with? It kind of goes in and out. I did a show for 5 years, and then you kind of hang out with those people for 5 years, and then, you know, for Naruto, Liam has 2 kids, and Sam now has a kid, so, and Kate has kids, you know. I mean, I like giving them shit, but I would. Plus, we're all spread out, but, A lot of other voice actors hang around each other, I think, a little bit more than me. Oh, thanks. Thank you. Someone else? Yeah.
What did you have to do to get the part of Naruto? Like, did you have to try out, or did they just choose you because your voice is so good?
Paid them. No, I'm kidding. It's better than what my first thought was. No, I got a. Oh, sorry. You didn't see that. I got a call. I audition all the time. I was back in the hotel room and I just got an email from my agent saying I have an audition for Nickelodeon. And when I did Naruto, I just got it like I get every other audition. Sometimes I'll get 6 or 7 a week auditions for voiceover stuff. Sometimes even more. And then sometimes you won't get any for a while, but I auditioned and then I got called back in and then I went and met all the people and we had a big session. There were all these people from Japan there and all the people from Viz and San Francisco and then all the people in the studio where we recorded and they worked me in the booth and adjusted my tone and age and attitude. And after that was all over, I was like, thanks, I hope I get the job. And they were like, well, you got the job. And I was like, what? Why didn't you tell me an hour ago, you bastards? You have a follow-up to that?
Yeah, I have another question. Did you try out for any other parts?
Hell no! What do you think I was going to play Hinata? I can't do that. I can't do those voices. I can't do Sasuke. I could maybe do Gamabunta. I don't even do sexy jutsu. I can't do that. My voice doesn't go that high. They didn't ask me to do anything else, because listen to me. I sound like I chew on gravel and smoke. I don't do either, but I'm not saying I won't ever.
When you, like, from the little kid Naruto, from the older, was it difficult, like, to change?
No,
like, I don't know if you...
Those first several, was it difficult to change from the younger to the older? No, the first several episodes of Shippuden, they would adjust me periodically and be like, that's a little too high, you know.
Yeah.
Lower the pitch, make it more mature, just an attitude, a lot of attitude. And now when I do episodes where, like, there'll be a flashback and I have to do the younger Naruto or really young Naruto, that sounds weird to me.
Yeah.
You know, it's weirder going backwards now than doing him now. But I've done a bunch of Shippuden, so it wasn't that hard. A lot of the jobs I do, most of the time I do little boys' voices, and so almost all the time. And so I always do a range of voices. So that isn't as hard for me as it might be for people who don't normally do that. But yeah.
Cool.
Somebody else had a question? Nobody? Okay, bye.
Don't leave.
Don't leave me an hour. Yeah.
You get weird fan questions.
I don't know, are you going to ask me something weird? I'll tell you a story. I was in New Zealand and I went to a convention there and it was a pretty big convention. Not huge, but a medium-sized convention, and I was in a big room like this, but it was pretty full, and there was this hulking man that was like huge and had this long, black, thick hair. He was just enormous, kind of dressed a little strangely, and I could see him with these crazy eyes, and he started making a beeline for me, and I was like, oh God, what's he gonna do? And he came up to me and he very softly said, I'd like you to have this. And he had carved a traditional piece of New Zealand jewelry out of bone, which is a thing that they do, and made a thatched, like a wrapper for it, and then had written a poem saying, welcome to the country and thank you for coming here. So I was kind of like this amazing, he really did look kind of like a monster. But he was a very nice man. But he was a gentle soul and a poet, and it was kind of cool, But and then another time, I was at a big, huge one in Baltimore, and there was a girl there that was she just had a crazy story, almost to the point where we're like, oh, okay, all right, okay. you know, like, should I call somebody? You know? Should the bus come take you away? But she was just, you know, she was just at a particular, I think a lot of people like Naruto because he always keeps trying, and because, you know, I do get letters sometimes where people say I felt alone, or I felt isolated, or I didn't feel like, you know, I had all these other people in my life, and they really found some strength through this character, and I think that touches people a lot, and I love hearing that from people, because a lot of people that, I do get letters from people that say, you know, that they have felt like an outsider, and this character helped them feel less like an outsider. And to me, that's really touching and effective and cool. So I like getting that. And then sometimes I get some fan mail that's like, you suck!
What?
Oh, wow.
What?
That comes with the territory.
Yeah.
Right back, so do you! I don't write them back. I wrote one girl back, that was a mistake. I was like, well, I think that's uncalled for, because you got personal. I don't care if you don't like me, but most I get really, really nice letters. Yeah.
When you're doing Naruto and he's all, you know, in the fox thing and everything,
Yeah.
do they actually alter your voice, or do you just, you know, do
Well,
more gravel or something?
I do more gravel, a lot more gravel. And hopefully not too much screaming. I do a lot of screaming as Naruto. Sorry in advance. The voice of your nightmares. But when I do add a lot of gravel. When he really goes to the extreme, you know, when it's all red and big and all that stuff, then they use a different voice actor who just does that. When it's the inside kind of sounding voice, that's a different actor. And he only does, I mean, he's only done it a couple times. So, there've just been a few episodes where you see that, it go to that extreme. But no, I do the gravel, and they don't usually alter it. I just scream and scream and scream. Yeah, it's funny when I do the games. I do, you know, I'll have to go back and forth from young to old to Nine-Tailed Fox Naruto. So it's like, you know, it's a little schizophrenic, but hopefully they put them all together, you know. The games are weird anyway because you're in there for so long, just by yourself, just making weird noises. Like
Yeah. I used to practice that.
on and on and on.
I used to do that.
And it goes on and on. I mean, the last game I did was huge. It's not out yet. Don't ask me the name, I don't know. And I couldn't tell you even if I did. But it's Naruto something, something, something. They're all the same. Everyone's like, what is it? I'm like, Ultimate Force. I don't know. It's always Ultimate something, something. But anyway, it was 12,000 lines, 12,000 loops, we call them. Okay. So 12,000 either lines or sounds or impacts or getting hit or jumping or flying or landing or stabbing or whatever. And it's page after page of that. And sometimes you don't know the context, and Mary Elizabeth, the director, will give me a lot of the direction, you know. She'll be like, okay, well, in this part of the game, you're out on a prairie and there's a big guy attacking you, you know. You're going to attack him with a sword, so I think that's what this is, you know. And then you kind of just... And then they'll be like, okay, now a shorter one and a longer one, a smaller one and a bigger one. And,
You have to do many.
And then I go out drinking.
Awesome.
Makes it horrible. In the back.
Would that be all in one session, or would you break?
Oh, hell no.
Okay.
Oh, hell no.
Oh, little one of me. The rest of you look old enough to hear me.
Yep, 22.
No, that 12,000 loop game took me 7 sessions of 2 hours each. A lot of voiceover sessions for voiceover actors are 4 hours long, but if you're doing a lot of screaming and yelling and attacking, and it's very hard to do 4 hours of that. Vocally, it's very, very stressful. So, and generally I only do 2 or 3 hours for the video games, but I like to keep it to 2 because it's just a little bit, I find that after, I can tell you exactly when I'm in the booth without looking at a clock. It'll be 2 hours and 40 minutes and I'll start to really fade. Because it's just, you're not only screaming, but you're, sometimes it's like in pain or you're dying or you're killing somebody. You can't, there's no such thing as phoning it in when you're doing a voiceover and you're in a voice booth and you're acting like it's life and death. Well, if you act like it's life and death and you kind of do it halfway, it's terrible and you can tell.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, you're pretty wiped out. Like, you're pretty, when I do a bunch of those days in a row, I don't really want to talk at the end of the day to anybody. And I try and space them out so I do those only every other day. When I do the sessions for the actual series, again, I'm in the booth by myself, but I do a 2-hour session, and in that session I can do, depending on the episode, I can do a whole episode or I can do maybe 2 episodes if I'm not very heavy in an episode. The day before I left I did 3 episodes, and I actually got out early, and I have only been let out early maybe like 3 times in 8 years because I'm always talking in the show. So, but in those episodes I just didn't have, I only had like 5 lines in 2 of the episodes, so yeah.
Were you into anime before you started doing Naruto voice and stuff?
No, not really. I wasn't into anime, and when I got the part, my agent's like, "Well, you got the part. That's great, officially." I'm like, "Oh, great!" And it was right before my birthday, and I went down to New Orleans to celebrate. And I was like, "Oh, let me Google this Naruto thing." And I just put in Naruto, and I got 100,000 hits.
Yep.
I was like, "Oh my God, what is this thing?" And then I started learning about what it was, and then I've been to London and New Zealand and around the country a little bit, and Canada, and I'm like, "Wow, this is kind of big." So I didn't really know. And I wasn't into anime. A lot of the people that I work with are into anime. I've done other animation before, but I hadn't specifically been into anime. Yeah.
When you start like a new character, you get a new role, do you do a lot of research into like the story of the show, or do you, when you go in, is it more just you do your lines and you know a little bit about your character, or do you make a habit? I mean, do voice actors in general make a habit of like learning about the show?
Well, often there's not too much to learn. I'll give you an example. The email that I got today was from Nickelodeon for a new show. And what they gave me was I'm auditioning for 2 parts. One of a woman that's just a little bit younger than me, and one of a crazy, whacked out young girl with a raspy voice. Hey. I hope Nancy Cartwright gets it. No, I'm kidding. She plays Bart Simpson. So they gave me the renderings of the characters, and then they gave me a write-up of what the show is, where it takes place. And then they gave me a little description, like a paragraph, like 3 or 4 sentences long, about who that character is. And after you've been doing it a while, I teach voiceover classes to working actors in LA. And what I tell them is you kind of develop these stock characters that you can then at least have something to base or bounce off of. So at least you have vocally some placement for the character. So when I see this, it's just like when I start reading the lines, it just kind of came out a certain way, or comes out a certain way. For other things, like I did this show on PBS called Jakers, The Adventures of Piggly-Wings, and I did it for 5 years, like 65 episodes. And for that, it took place in Ireland, and it was sort of a period piece, kind of, basically in a simpler time, maybe the 50s, but they didn't really say. And for that, I had to do research on my Irish accent. And I listened over and over again. I would listen to it whenever I was on the computer. A movie called Into the West, and with Gabriel Byrne and these 2 little kids. And so when I actually got the part and started recording, one of the guys who was on the show as well, who's from Ireland originally, said, he's like, "You sound a bit like a traveler," which is, like kind of gypsies in Ireland, like, and I said, "Well, that's funny because that's what this movie was took place." So it was like, oh, I feel like that kid's a little bit like this kid, that sort of innocence and stuff. So that's about it. That's about all you get. I guess if you did a more iconic character, like, some of my friends that are working on, Batman and, the new Marvel stuff, if they're kind of redoing something that was done before, then they probably do a little more research, and they would make sure that they knew all their comic book stuff. But yeah, a lot of times, I do a lot of original animation, and I don't want to impersonate anybody too. Like, I think that the woman that does Naruto in Japan is amazing. I think she's great. I don't know if you know how it works. Should I tell you how? You probably don't, maybe you don't know, but okay. So I get the script. I never get the script ahead of time.
Yep.
You're in a booth. There's you're in the booth, and then behind the glass is an engineer and the director, Mary Elizabeth McGlynn, and the engineers, running the controls. And you have to do it all cold reading. Almost all anime is cold reading. So you don't get the script beforehand. So you can't look at the script 2 days beforehand and be like, oh, okay, I'm gonna play it really big here. You have to be really good at cold reading. And then the director kind of fills you in on the blanks, and you move really fast. So it's not like I don't see the whole thing until I watch it on TV, So I kind of went off track there, but anyway. Oh, so how it works is, so then I read it and I listen in the headphones, and I'll hear the scene or the few lines in Japanese, and then I have to go ahead and record. Then you hear 3 beeps in your ears, and where the 4th beep is where you're supposed to start talking.
Yeah.
You try and match your lip flaps to the cartoon. That's anime. In original animation, usually do it with as many people as you can in the room, and you sort of sit in a semicircle in a bigger recording booth, and you do that more like a play, and you might do it once and then do it a second time, and then they'll say, okay, you take a break, and then they come back and they say, now on this line we really wanted you to go further, or this one you were too loud, or let's give you an alternate for this line because we're not sure we want to use that part. And then months later you might come in, and after they sent it off to get animated, which is usually now they're animating a lot of stuff in India. It used to be Korea, and they're animating a lot in China. They'll send the stuff off to be animated, and then you'll get it back. And sometimes they'll say, well, we needed to change that line. And then it's the first time you kind of see it. It's kind of cool. So you might go back in and just correct a few lines here and there.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Do you ever get sick of being Naruto because you've done it for so long?
No.
Nope.
Because I have a mortgage. I hope I do it until I die.
Yeah.
And at this rate, I probably will. I'll be very old.
Oh yeah.
Decrepit.
Naruto will never end.
My name is Naruto. No, I never get sick of it. Once in a while, if I'm perfectly honest, after doing the video game, after you're doing grunts and screams and groans and
Yes.
there's a gun in the room, I might use it. No. Those days can be a little fatiguing, let's just say, but I'm still grateful, But no, I never did say that. Ever. I love it. Awesome. Welcome back. Yeah.
So obviously you've probably heard at various places the infamous believe it line.
Believe it!
Oh my
Now,
gosh.
was that written in for you, or did they say you can ad-lib something? Or how did that even...
God, if I ad-libbed that, I'd be a horrible ad-libber. Give me a little credit here. Everyone's like, I hate that. I was like, oh, whatever. I'm not a writer. I am a writer, but I don't write that. But no, they sort of tried to translate databeo to something. Because if you listen in the original Japanese, they say it a lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah.
And so they figured that's what they should do. Well, what they realized is, it's really friggin' annoying. So after 18 episodes, they were like, we're not going to do that anymore. I think they said it was a copyright issue. I don't know if that's true. I think it was, people were just like, we hate it. And then they were like, oh, okay. So I actually only said it for the first 18 episodes. If you go back, I didn't say it after that.
Yeah.
Maybe 20, but I think 18. But the thing is, it was on all the posters and the publicity, too. So I still say it at conventions. I don't hate saying it at all, but it was sort of like, I mean, when you think about it, it didn't quite fit in all the situations, so they axed it. Yeah.
What's your favorite character?
Naruto.
Duh.
Show's not called Sasuke.
Hey. Hey, now.
That's tough.
Sasuke.
Orochimaru.
No.
Come on.
Let's pick a character.
Listen, I'm not writing it down. Who? Oh, really? Okay, that's a good one. All right, I'll give you that.
Pick a character.
All right, you're fine. I judged you before, but I'll give it back.
I'm taking it back now.
Yeah, that's a good character, I think. That's a pretty cool character. I like Choji.
Oh, yeah.
Yay,
he's pretty
Choji.
good. Yeah.
Only because I think if there's only one other character I could do on the show, it might be him. But probably not. So, I don't think I could really do any other characters. I do like the character of Jiraiya. I will say.
Yes.
Raya, he's awesome.
I think
Rocks.
it's a pretty great character.
I'm so sad.
He's gone.
Hey!
Coming back.
Ixnay on the eye day.
Spoiler alert.
If Orochimaru come back, he'd come back.
It's cartoons. No one ever dies. Like, didn't that character die? No.
Comes back.
Yeah. Yes. You have another one?
Oh, no, I don't.
Oh. I was saying hi. Anybody else? Yes.
I was just waiting where.
All your lines, which is your favorite Naruto?
Oh. One line in 400 episodes.
I know, right?
Gosh.
Oh, you know what? I knew you were going to ask me that. And usually I get like this at a convention and then I look like a big dummy. So I put something in my cell phone if I can bring it out. I wrote down a couple lines that were some of my favorites. See?
Yeah, here's thing.
I'll say them again tomorrow so don't be bored when I say the same thing.
Okay, I won't be here tomorrow.
I'm in here tomorrow.
I want to get it right. As I said, I don't write the show. I do,
She has an iPhone.
as far as scenes go, I like doing, I love the fight between Sasuke and Naruto.
Yes.
That is one of my favorites.
Yes.
I'm not thinking of any.
It's very emotional, too.
Particular sort of lines in that episode, but I do like that episode. I like the Lady Chio stuff. I thought that was pretty moving and special. And then the stuff with Sai, I think, has been pretty fun.
Yeah.
And then I'm on episode 428 I did the other day, so it's pretty intense. I had to hyperventilate in the booth the other day. And the thing about faking hyperventilating is that you actually hyperventilate. So I would be like, I'm not going to do it now because I'll hyperventilate. But I had to do this. And you just can only do it so many times. Yeah, I did it, and then I was like, they're like, all right, sit down. And I'd be like, all right. A few minutes. And then I had to do another hyperventilating scene. I said, well, the good news is all you have to do is hyperventilate. The bad news is you have to do it for a half hour. We stretched it out. All right. Okay, I'm trying to find the lines. But in the meantime, if someone wants to ask me a question, I can.
Which one from the Naruto and Sasuke fight? Which one do you like better, the Shippuden or
The pre-one.
or the little like when they're kids?
Shippuden.
Shippuden.
Yeah.
That one's your favorite?
Yeah.
Cool.
It was intense,
Yeah.
anytime you
I
get
was
to
just
do anything
wondering. I knew it was
extreme,
extreme.
it's really fun. Like,
Yeah.
if it's extremely dramatic or extremely comedic,
Yeah.
it's fun. Anything that's sort of middle of the road, it's like, yeah, that was all right.
Yeah.
Some of the fillers, people don't like them. Sometimes I think they're fun. Sometimes it's nice not to be killing and stabbing people.
I mean, my favorite is the mask.
Oh, yeah, the
filler.
Kakashi mask?
Yeah,
That one's hilarious.
I mean,
Yeah, a
that's
lot of
actually
people
like
say that.
that's one. I mean, all the other ones are like, what?
Yeah.
Why do you?
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
All right, here's one. I haven't warmed up my voice, so if it sounds like crap, don't put it on the internet.
Well,
Talking to you.
All right, editing it.
Hold on. Okay. I also record standing up, so I can't do this sitting down. I just discovered that just now. All right.
Can't do it sitting down either.
I don't care who I have to fight. If he rips my arms off, I'll kick him to death. If he rips my legs off, I'll bite him to death. If he rips my head off, I'll stare him to death. And if he gouges my eyes, I'll curse him to death. Even if I'm torn to shreds, I will find a way to take Sasuke back.
God! Stop it! Right now. I had
That was amazing.
my
On a
heart.
lighter note,
Oh God, that was awesome.
there's some other ones.
I'm hyperventilating.
I can tell you more.
Oh God, that's so.
Believe it. No.
I'm gonna do that when I go. Believe it.
Oh gosh, I don't know. There's more, but I'll figure them out. Any other questions? Yeah. No.
Manga.
I don't have enough time, really. I mean, I do on camera a lot, and I audition a lot. So between like trying to memorize my scenes for the Disney show that I did 18 episodes of this year, and then I have 8 pages of dialogue to record in the hotel room, and then I had I had 6 auditions last week. I just don't really have time. Mary Elizabeth, the director, who I can't say enough good things about, she'll say, okay, in this arc, this is what's happening, and also sometimes I won't do it for a while. At one point, I had a really long break, like 8 months or 9 months.
Wow.
And I wasn't doing it at all because it was in between networks. So when I came back, I was like, okay, where are we in the story?
Yeah.
Once in a while, if I'm feeling like it's been a long time, I'll go on the web and just kind of look at a summation of some of the stuff. But because I never really know what I'm going to be working on when I go in the booth, even though it's pretty much in numerical order, it's kind of hard to tell, what you'll be working on. So, but I don't. I mean, I guess if they sent me the manga, I might read the manga. But,
Said it right.
I guess I don't.
Said it right.
That's the answer. See a lot of Law and Order, though. Okay. Anybody else? Yeah.
Do you have like a favorite episode from either Naruto or Naruto Shippuden? Do you have a favorite episode?
Well, like I said, the fight with Gaara, the Jiraiya dramatic arc.
Oh, that's.
Oh,
Let's
yeah.
just say that.
Oh.
There's some funny stuff with Kakashi when he was younger, I thought. I loved one of the movies. There was a scene where I got electrocuted.
Oh yeah, the Clash of Land of Snow.
Yeah. That was a fun scene. I thought
Yeah.
that was a fun movie.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That might have been my favorite movie. That was a fun one. Yeah. So, yeah.
I've always been curious. I don't know about like other voice actors, but like whenever you're doing like, I guess you could say the Jiraiya scene, like where you're like crying and you're getting emotional. Do you ever feel like you're actually doing that? Like,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there was one that I did, and it wasn't so long ago, and I had just been thinking about something, in my life, someone who died, and I was in the booth, and I had to talk to someone who was dying, and it's like talking about someone who's dying, and
Yeah.
you are crying, and then eventually, if you're really, if you're really engaged, it comes,
Yeah.
So I sat down and I was like, oh. It was tough. And by that point, I wasn't thinking about the person I knew that died. I was thinking about the character, but you're just so into it. You just,
Right.
You commit. That's happened like a few times. Like, I'd say about at least 3 or 4 times where I've done really emotional stuff, and it does, kind of takes over
Yeah.
a little bit. But then, you leave, you go get sushi, and you're all right. You eat a lot of sushi. Yeah.
Sushi's good.
500 Days of Summer. Did you audition for the role, or did they call you like, who wants you to?
Oh, no, I had to audition. That movie was so confusing when we read the script. I was like, what is this? And it was with Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Zooey Deschanel. I didn't know who she was or anything, so we're sitting down the first day. I was on the first week of shooting. I shot for 4 days, even though I'm in the movie for like 2 minutes. But, and the script was kind of confusing, and we had a table read at the producer's house, and there were these 2 young guys that sat beside me, and they're like, hey. I was like, hey, I'm Molly. And they're like, hey, I'm whatever. And I thought they were PAs, production assistants, and they wrote the movie. And they were like, it was their first movie that they ever wrote. And they were young guys. They were really fun, cute, cool. And so I went to film 500 Days of Summer, and the first day, and we were filming, and all of it, almost all of it, was filmed in one building in LA. They just made it look like all those different locations, except for the exteriors. So like the office was in the same building as her apartment was in the same. They just used this old, really gross, really dusty old factory in LA. So we sit down for lunch, and we're literally in the, like, I don't know what it was, an old garbage bay. And I'm with Zoe Deschanel and Joseph Gordon-Levitt. We're just talking, and somebody said something about music. I was like, oh, you guys play music? And Joseph said to me, he goes, her album just came out this week. I was like, oh, I didn't know you sang, you know. And then the movie turned out to be a big hit, which was pretty fun. Yeah, that was fun. It was fun. He was so funny because he had to yell and scream at me, and he was like, I'm so sorry. Yeah, but that's all right. Yeah.
What character would you like Naruto to have? Like
Let's say
Sakura,
Evan Almighty.
Hinata, or some people say Sasuke?
Sasuke.
No. Don't say that.
Choji.
What?
They make a lovely pair.
No. Yeah.
I don't know. I never answer that seriously. Ever.
Good.
But come on, Hinata. God. She needs to grow a pair, if I may say. She's a little too, like, hee, you know,
But
that
she-
kind of thing.
She does now.
I don't know. I don't think he'd end up with her. She does show some toughness when she, in the fighting, remember the
Shippuden.
big fight scene?
Yeah.
In the big thing? Where they have,
Pain.
in the cartoon, you know, movie where they have big jumbotrons, but they don't have phones. I was doing one of those movies the other day. I was like, why is there a jumbotron, but they don't have telephones and they don't have electrical equipment? But they have trains, but they fly with their hands behind their backs. Okay. Yeah.
What's your favorite song in the soundtrack?
Oh, from Naruto?
Yeah.
Oh, you know, I met the band, one of the bands that did the first song. I used to sing along to it all the time. Now there's a different song that I don't often hear because I start after the song plays. So, I forget which one it is. If I heard it, I would know it. It was in my head for months. I think I had to get it out of my head.
Fighting Dreamers?
No.
Was it in Shippuden?
No, it wasn't in Shippuden. It was in the original.
Okay.
Now I have to go back and listen to all the theme songs. Can you sing some of them for me?
I have them, but
Well then, somebody else will. I can't remember, and I met the guys that sang it, and it was in my head, and we would always kind of sing along in the booth. And then they'd be like, all right, TikTok, time's wasting. Get to work.
Like Fighting Dreamers or something?
Yeah, that's what it was.
I just said that.
Oh, that's what you said?
I said that. I said, is it Fighting Dreamers?
I thought you said fire or something.
No, I said Fighting Dreamers.
Oh, that's what it was. That's what it was.
Did you hear me?
And the band guys came all the way from Tokyo to a convention in Calgary or something. Yeah, it's fun.
I was like, I'm wrong?
It's weird when you meet people like that because, you know, you'll be like, hey, I hear your theme song all the time.
Yeah.
And then they're like, who are you? Because they're Japanese and they don't listen to me.
Yeah.
I did get to meet the Japanese. We kind of did a video meet and greet, you know, where we talked to each other. But I've never met any of them in person, any of the Japanese actors. And I haven't met any of the writers, except for when I first auditioned and I didn't know who any of them were because there were like 30 people that were sitting out there. So you get all nervous, you don't want to, you know. And now I wish I had actually met the creator, you know, and some of the people, some of the artists that do the renderings and stuff like that. But you never get to meet them really. Yeah.
Do you actually remember your lines from when you auditioned for Naruto at all?
No. You don't have to remember any of your lines for animation, which is, that is one good thing about it, you know. Like, the difference between liking one or the other is, you know, when you're doing television, the lines change every night. I'll get a script revision at like 10 o'clock at night. And then the next day, come in and try and work this thing, and you might remember lines, you might not. when I just for Shameless, I had 8 pages to memorize. And you just do the best you can, you know. But one of the beauties of cartoons is that, one, you don't have to put makeup on. And people always say you can go in your pajamas and record, but every time I've done that, there's like a Make-A-Wish kid there. I'm like, I'm sorry. You go home and change. Some Harrison Ford's in the lobby. You're like, hey. That's always fun walking in a voiceover studio because, you know, we'll all be chummy because we're there all the time and all of a sudden you'll come out and be like, oh my God, it's Spock. You know, everybody freaks out. You see a lot of people coming and going. They don't know who we are. Then their kids do, and then they'll come back and be like, hey, the kid watches your cartoon. It's kind of fun. Anybody else? No? Yeah.
In Naruto, the final fight between Naruto and Sasuke, what's your opinion about it? And can you do the Sasuke yell?
The Sasuke!
Yeah.
Boy. It's early. You gonna be here tomorrow? I'm gonna throw my voice. What's my opinion about it?
Yeah.
I thought it was heartbreaking. And I thought it was, you know, the funny thing about that fight is we took a lot of time to do that, you know, more time than we would do other episodes, because it was so important and because it comes back a lot. But it's, you know, I mean, obviously if you've ever lost a friend or something, you know, you can imagine, but this is even higher stakes than that because to him that's his family, right? That's like his brother. He didn't have any brothers. And so, and not only that, but the stakes are even higher than that because, of course, it's life and death. It's not just like, you know, having a friend that you kind of don't get along with anymore. So, but the weird thing is that I have to keep revisiting it because we'll do a different game and they'll redo that part of the fight.
Yeah.
So I've not just done it the one time for that those episodes. I've had to do relive sort of that moment like 30 times. But it doesn't get any easier because you got to commit to it being just as important the 30th time as you did when I recorded the actual fight the first time in the episode. And can I do it? Okay. Just to yell. All right. Oh, it's loud. Ooh. Eee. All right. Sasuke!
Yeah.
That wasn't very good, sorry.
That was pretty
I'll
fun.
get better tomorrow. It's hard, you know, you work your way into those kind of big dramatic moments. You know, where you gotta kind of like whimper and cry. Actually warm up my voice instead of chewing gum and drinking Diet Coke. With the whiskey shot on the side. No, I don't.
Oh, God.
Oh no, it's like with the whiskey shot.
Well, I'm not the bartender, but if you find her. Yes.
So when you're getting lines for an audition for an animated thing, be it Nickelodeon, anime, whatever, do they actually give you lines from the show, or are you getting like sample lines to test your range on a character?
No, it's actual lines from the show, like the pilot or whatever. Like, for instance, the Nick thing that I got today that I haven't done yet is they've given me the lines from the pilot. For another thing that I did for Nickelodeon this year, a pilot that I did, what they did was an abbreviated pilot, so they're only animating like a 9-minute thing instead of a 23-minute thing. So we just did sort of a 9-minute version of the show. And that's very trendy right now in animations. So they don't test it out with the whole 23 minutes. They might not, so they don't spend as much money animating the whole 23 minutes. So you always get, like, in the pilot, you get all, I mean, you won't get all the lines you're going to do. You'll get a sampling of the lines you're going to do, but they are lines from the show. And it might be slightly, if you get the job, it might be slightly rewritten by the time you get there. And anything can be kind of rewritten by the time you get there. But as long as you're in the ballpark, you're fine. So, in TV, it can be rewritten it's rewritten on the set all the time. Like, sometimes I'm like, what? What do I have to say? Okay. Because they'll give you alternates and they'll change it on the set, especially in sitcoms. So you have to really concentrate hard. It's kind of like a focus thing. People that aren't good at memorizing lines aren't as good at television acting because it moves faster. Film they can probably handle because once a film is kind of set, it's kind of set. And it moves slowly, very slowly. Like a page a day is what you shoot in film, generally. I mean, independents, of course, you'll shoot faster. But in big features, it could be a page a day. I did Transformers 3 and they never gave me the script. Me or a bunch of people. Like, we went in and improvised what we were going to do, and then we got there and Michael Bay was like, so, you guys know what the movie's about? And we were all like, no. It's like, it's a bunch of robots, they fight the other robots, that's it, you're in the office. We're like, okay. And then he'd come up to us and the camera would be there and there'd be 150 crew people and he'd be like, all right, I want you to say like, oh my God, what are you doing right here? Is that guy gonna jump out the window? Okay, go. And they'd be like, what? Did you just say, what did I have to say? Sweating, nervous. Then you'd say it and, none of it would end up in the movie. Because apparently that movie's about robots. Anyway. I did do my own stunts though. Yeah.
That's cool.
Anybody else?
How is it like working in the show Lab Rats?
Oh, Lab Rats? Mm-hmm. Oh, I love it. One of my favorite jobs in the whole entire 25-year career. It's fabulous. The kids are fabulous. The writing's fabulous. Crew is fabulous.
I have to say that.
About 20 minutes from my house. Good food. A lot of food. I have a nice dressing room with cable.
That's always great.
It's fantastic.
Fantastic.
People put clothes on you, and just march into place,
Spectacular.
smack out a punchline, and then you're done.
That
Fun.
easy, yeah?
Fun. I love that fun. I'm going to be on it a lot this season. You'll be so sick of me, you'll turn the TV off and horror burn it. That's what my mother said when she first heard Naruto. It's kind of wearying. I was like, well, it's not really made for a 75-year-old woman. Thank you for the support, though. Anybody else? Hey, where are you going? What are you doing? Where are you going? What are you guys doing? You're doing what?
I'll be right back.
Oh, okay. Oh, you lost your headband?
How dare you?
I'm so mad at him right now. Yeah. I'm sorry, what?
What was Michael Bay like?
He was nice to me. he was nice the whole time. He was doing a lot of juicing. He was on a lot of green juices.
Oh, I thought he was like doing steroids.
No, he's very skinny. I don't know. He's always drinking these weird green juices. And he always goes like this, like, all right, I'm going to go in here. You're gonna be in the elevator. Ken Jeong's going to come behind you. You're going to be like, what? What are you talking about? And you're like, wait, what? He mumbles everything. And then you do the scene and you say, nah, nobody wants to see people in an elevator on the 4th of July movie. Okay, let's move somewhere else. He was fine. And you don't talk to him much. There are like 250 people on the crew. You try and just keep your head low and stay in the movie. Let me put my face in this part of the scene. It's a robot. Let me stand here. I got to watch a stuntman go through a wall, and I got to be in the middle of a room exploding. There were only 2 people non-stunt, like, I don't know why I was one of them. Call my union. But anyway, and I had to dive under a desk and avoid all these, they had all these little flash pots going off all over. That was pretty cool. You don't get to do that every day. And I got to watch a guy jump out a plate glass window down 5 stories. That was pretty cool. And then I got to scream really loud, and the camera's right on me, and then that got cut, so that wasn't cool. That's okay. And it was the same camera they use for Avatar.
Oh, that's cool.
So it was like a brand new, everyone's like, look at this camera, man. It's like this piece of $500,000 piece of equipment. you know, which just terrifies you as an actor. Like, oh my God. Yeah. Yeah.
Final five, just so you know, and so the crowd knows.
Oh, final 5
Go back
minutes.
on those questions, please.
All right, 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
How much do you weigh? No. Yeah. Yeah.
Does it ever shock you, like, whenever you find out their fan base for a certain series or show?
Does it shock me? No, I mean, one time there was this sort of multi-generational family that looked to me like they might not be Naruto fans. I was a little shocked by that. But, not really. I mean, yes and no. Like, sometimes, you know, you think, like, my sister has this friend he's like the head of the U.S. Marshals or something. And he's like, oh my God, I love Naruto. Your sister's Naruto? I was like, really? Dude? Wow. Wouldn't expect it of you. I mean, just, you know, he's an older gentleman who's ex-military, you know, like head of the U.S. Marshals, and happens to love the show. So that's kind of shocking. It doesn't shock me when people are dressed up like this. I expect them to be fans of the show. Hey, no private conversations. Come on. Jesus.
Jesus.
Dress him up and you can't take him anywhere. All right, we got like a couple more questions. Yeah. Yeah. What?
Only 3 questions.
Your questions too? No. Favorite band? Wow. I used to like REM, but I got sick of them. I used to like Green Day, but I got sick of them. They're all right. That's not our show. I felt really old. I like Pink right now.
Pink's cool.
Digging her.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I should say something really groovy, but I kind of listen to everything.
Yeah, me
I'll
too.
be listening to anything on the radio. I get to meet people. I met Snoop Dogg the other day.
Oh my God, really?
Snoop Lion. Sorry.
Snoop Lion.
Snoop Lion. He was cool. I kind of like his music. I know that. See, that doesn't. I don't look like I look like Snoop Lion, but I do. Met CeeLo Green. I kind of enjoy him.
Oh my God, that's so
He's a
cool.
sweaty man. He's also short, like they all are. Except for Snoop Lion. He's very tall. I'll listen to anybody on them. All right. One more question and then that's it. Come on, make it a good one. No? No more questions? Yeah.
What's your favorite jutsu?
Favorite jutsu? Whew. Sexy jutsu. No. I don't do sexy jutsu. Stephanie Shea does sexy jutsu. My voice can't go that high. Well, shadow clone jutsu, of course.
Yeah.
Why did I even think about it? I'd like to clone myself.
I would love to.
I'll be
clone
working on that in
myself.
my hotel. Okay, that's it. Thanks. That was Jim Voorhees here.